Hey everyone, my name is Avin Chauka. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, and I'm an engineer. Anyway, today I want to talk about something that I've always been thinking about and I've not been getting answers. And I'm just having this discussion because it bothers me and I want to try to get it out of my head because it's something that I want to find out if this is what other people are also experiencing. Um, I went to varsity, I graduated. So I did everything that actually they told me to do. I went to primary, I went to preschool, I went to high school. I skipped high school, one grade in high school. It would have been nice if I skipped everything in high school. But I think, some of the things they are there for a reason. Sometimes you don't have to understand what the reason is actually about, but I think if you just do them, I think later you reflect and look back and realize that actually I really needed to do this. So, today I want to talk about university rankings. Like every year, I always say this in South Africa where, you'll have a ranking to say, this is the top university in South Africa. You'll have UCT, you'll have VATS, you'll have UP, and then you start having like Stellenbosch and whatever university that will come up. Now, obviously, I don't want to go too much into the stats because, sometimes people get caught up into the stats, the rankings, the quality, whatever that they say to justify whatever that they say. So for me, I just believe, man, that I don't think like this is what we should be doing as a country. This is what we should be doing like as a nation, right? Because I mean, what do you mean? Like you want to rank universities? Like you're still struggling to have a plan for people that have finished like matric 2 years ago. You don't have a plan even for people that have just finished matric now. Like, why are you ranking universities? Because for me, I strongly believe that the purpose behind the ranking of universities is real estate commodity. So, I mean, these are marketing people that are rating all of those things. It's like, why are you rating this? We're trying to get people to be educated. We're trying to bring people into this space where they'll generate skills and that will inform them and build skills for them. Why are we rating universities? Are we rating universities so that we decide which one is the best? If then we have that as a problem, why are we caught up in the situation where we are trying to decide which university is the best? Why are we doing that? Are we then saying that the rest of the universities are the best at something or they are not the best at all? Like, what is the purpose of rating universities? And for me, the important question starts with saying that what is the purpose of education? What are we educating people for? What type of a nation do we want to build? So it just makes me so much upset to realize that we are not building new universities, we are not building infrastructure for and networks and opportunities for these kids that just completed their matric and stuff. But we're rating investors. We're actually saying that this one is better than this one because of this, and this one is better than this because of that. So I felt so much like annoyed with all of that. It's like people who go to restaurants and they rate food. Like if you look at 100 days ago, like, hunger was a very big issue. You wouldn't go to a restaurant and say, oh, the China, the actually the sushi at this store, it's more nicer. It's 10 out of 10 compared to the one that I went to, which is 9 out of 10. It was not like the thing. And I can tell you right now, as someone that comes from the village, that people are still struggling right now. People are still in a position where they don't have food. People are still in a position where, all this luxury that people are talking about of traveling and food and clothes and everything is still like that. It's a luxury to some people. But now, let me not digress from what I'm talking about, which is like the university. Like, guys, why are we rating universities? Why are we doing that? Because, to be honest with you, for me, the biggest question that we always have to answer is the question of supply and demand, is the question of what type of a nation do we trying to build, and then can we now build infrastructure geared to that future that we're envisioning. So if we say that we want to be a nation that is building great architectural engineering buildings, can we invest in that? If we are saying that we want to be a nation that focuses on art, can we focus on that? But for me, so far, it doesn't look like that. It just looks like, you know, Um, Ranking universities is just being done as a way to inflate prices. I mean, look at the university fees, man. Like, the amount of money that you owe and you have never earned and you are still so young. It's so crazy. It's really, really so crazy because why am I owing 300,000? Why I've never earned a cent in my life? And I'm not trying to say like, oh no, investors must be free, this must be free. No, what I'm trying to say is that the model in which we're building all of these things is not working. And one of the crises that we are right now is the fact that we told people that they need to go to school, they must get educated, and then they'll be able to get jobs. But the problem in what is happening right now is that that is no longer the case, or maybe it's no longer the case at scale. So, which means that people get great qualifications, people qualify and become doctors, and they graduate and they become civil engineers, and they qualify and become all sorts of things that we have said that they must become. But there is no system that absorbs them into employment. We are resorting to all of these that we are now sending people overseas, and they say, go and work in the UK, and go and work this and go and work here, go and be a bus driver, go and do all of this type of things. And now, for me, that doesn't make sense either to me because, I mean, if you are going to the UK to build the economy in the UK, to give your skills to the UK or Dubai, wherever that you go to, what about your country? What happens about it? Who builds your country? Who takes patriotism towards your country? So these are things that we need to be very careful. This thing that we have to look into it. But we still have not answered the question: why are we ranking universities? What are we trying to do about that? Because to be honest with you, if you are trying to rank something, you are trying to be in business. Are we selling school? Are we? And when it comes to school, what are we selling? Are we selling accreditation, or are we selling information, or are we selling networking? We have to be very honest. We have to be very specific about what we're doing. But so far I just feel like we're just in a situation where um, we are happy with the rankings, and but I can tell you for sure that there is someone that is doing the rankings. There's someone that is aiming at something with the rankings. This is just not possible that somebody will just say, let's start ranking universities and let's try to make sure that we're the best, and then that is just for nothing. I just don't believe in that. And this is the kind of like overriding to everything. I mean, you have got companies now being rated as the top employer of 2026. And some of those companies, they are the most toxic companies you can ever work for. And they'll tell you that, no, we are so grateful. We have been voted as the best employer of 2026 in the what space and whatsoever. And you're like, really? Like me who work here don't feel like that. In the same way that people don't feel like their success it is attributable to government. I think like most people don't feel like they work in great companies, and this is the very companies that are getting like these positions of being, the top employee of the year. And that's sometimes what will eventually happen with the investors, that people will be getting all these qualifications, but they don't feel like they're getting something, or they don't think like there's value out of all of this thing. So, guys, we need to be honest about university rankings. We need to start thinking broader to say, actually, what can we be able to do at scale that will help us to equip our young people, our people, to be able to build the future that we're anticipating. We cannot be always be caught off guard. And it looks like in South Africa that is the case. We're always caught off guard. And we've got the resources, we've got the funding, we've got the baking, we've got the skills. Because what do you mean? People qualify every day to be CAs, to be engineers, to be this. But doesn't look like that is moving us forward, Or maybe that is not the purpose of education. Or maybe that's what we should be asking ourselves as well. What is the purpose of education? Because one of the philosophical questions that we should be asking ourselves is that if we say that education is the most important thing in the world or in the country, then the educated people should be the one that are seen forefront leading the country. But you cannot have people that have matric leading the country when you say education is important. If you say that education is key to success, you cannot have people that don't have education leading the country. But you have got that as your theme, you have got that as your motto. It's not possible, guys. So we have to be honest about these conversations to say that, are we living up to the nation's pride or nation's expectation based on what we say that we need and want and all of that, you know? But we cannot just go with the flow. Going in the flow is not the way to do it. Going in the flow is it's not how it should be done. We have to say, what does education mean? What do we have to do with it? And then how do we make sure that we live up to that mission? But we cannot just go with the flow. And that is the problem with most of the institutions that exist. It's just like, we have always done things the way that it is. We have always believed this about education. We've always done things like this. It's kind of like, even it's not just about individuals. Now it's becoming people. It's becoming um, institutions that they are scared to change things because we have always done things this way. So that's what annoys me the most, to say, why are we ranking universities? Are we saying that there's an education that is more important than the other? Are we saying that trigonometry at VETS, it's not the same as trigonometry at VAL? What are we saying about that? If we're saying something about that, then it is to be very clear, what do we do with all of that? Because it's not possible that we can just start ranking universities and we don't have any reason behind it. And that's all that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Until I see you next time. Cheers.